Dr. T.K. Mandal, Professor at Shri Vaishnav School of Management at Shri Vishwavidyalaya, Vishwavidyalaya. Before we start, let me explain how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any question during the presentation, just write them to the question and answer tab. We will take Q&A session at the end to answer your questions. Now, before taking much time, I would like to introduce our speaker. Dr. T.K. Mandal is professor in Shri Vaishnav School of Management at Shri Vishwavidyalaya, Vishwavidyalaya. He has done B.Tech honors, M.Tech in Industrial Management from IIT Kharagpur and PhD from NITIE. He has many years of experience in the field of total productive maintenance, happiness, employee management, and labor laws. So, welcome you, sir. Now request Dr. T.K. Mandal sir to please start the presentation.
Thank you, Rupali, and welcome once again on my behalf to all the participants. I presume that the participants are interested in this particular program, and that's why they are joined to hear the prospects and the details about this program. I'm sorry, I was the problem in the network. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
So, as explained by Professor Bharti, you can raise your hand, you can ask. Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
There is a stability problem in the network, the internet connection. So my voice may break, but there may be interruptions in between. Can't help it, apart from requesting you to bear with it. I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, but your voice is breaking, sir. You are not.
It's breaking because the internet is not stable. The
Sir,
strength of the
your laptop is connected to LAN or Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
That is.
Just give me a moment. I'll connect it to LAN. Okay,
Yes,
just wait a minute. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Better, huh?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for that. Okay, without further ado, I'll take you through the presentation, explain what is industrial management, what are the career prospects, what are the different facets of industrial management in general up to this. And then since this is the course that we have introduced, this is a program that we have introduced this year, I'll take you through what Vaishnav University has to offer as far as this program is concerned. So essentially, if I can broadly say the objective of this webinar, Chetana, as the name suggests, it's to give you an awareness about a program in industrial management anywhere. Okay, that's the primary objective. To tell you what is a program on industrial management, what are the prospects, what are the details about it, and things like that. You may also ask me what are the other places who offer, and then I'll take you through what we offer from Vaishnav University as far as this program is concerned. So let me start sharing my screen. Okay. So see we have very carefully chosen the title of this webinar, and the first few words are extremely important. You have all of you know that there are n number of MBA programs offered throughout the country and across the world. So what is special? The special is the first two words, adding punch. There is something additional. There is something over and above what none of the mill kind of MBAs offer. And this particular program, which we call as industrial management, which everywhere it is called as industrial management, it is essentially a program meant for engineering graduates. Okay, the students of engineering, the persons with an engineering background. So that's the reason we call the title the program, title this particular webinar as adding punch to engineering degree. Okay, with an MBA which is in industrial management. The first few slides will spend on what is industrial management. As you can see and you have heard, industrial management consists of two words, industry and management. If you are students of engineering, particularly in the final year, or have already completed engineering degree, you have some exposure to management. So to some of you, this should be a sort of refreshing your memories of management courses that you studied during engineering degree, maybe something little more. Okay, so the first thing that we take, the other way around, we take management first and then industry second. So what is management? There are few traditional definitions. The first one given by Mary Parker Follett, in very simple terms, which common people talk about, management is the art of getting things done through people. This is a traditional definition, and if you step out, you ask a common person, a person who has not gone through management programs, will say that management is getting things done through people. Managing is managing people. There is another definition which I have put in here, which says, is by one George, says management consists of getting things done through others, much similar to what Mary Follett says. Goes on to add that a manager is one who accomplishes organizational objectives by directing the efforts of others. So slight modification from the first definition, it adds a particular terminology called directing the efforts of others for the purpose of achieving organizational objectives. Now, in terms of traditional viewpoint about management, it goes on like this. It is considered inappropriate. The traditional viewpoint about management is considered inappropriate in the present day environment. Traditional viewpoint means the viewpoints which I presented in the previous slide. it has been criticized on the following grounds. There are a few grounds where the traditional viewpoint has been criticized. Okay. Now, the first thing is that this some of these you might have already studied. So the first thing is that the viewpoint definitions of the traditional way of looking at management has been criticized from the point of view that the traditional views do not reflect the various functions which a manager performs to get results from the others. And secondly, the viewpoints gives an impression that that the manager displays a manipulative character while practicing management. Manipulative means getting things done from others, and it can be somehow, or it can be by any means. This is very important criticism of traditional viewpoint of management. In traditional viewpoints, the employees are looked at as means of getting results. This is something which I strongly believe, that employees and human resources, the term resources is abused. Okay. Employees or human beings are not resources. They are human beings. Okay. So this is the third criticism about traditional view. And the fourth one is the need of the worker has been ignored. Okay. This is similar to what I said is resources, the workers or the manpower or the employees are supposed to work like machines from the traditional viewpoint. So these are the way things are defined. One of the modern definition of management is this: management is the creation and maintenance of an internal environment in an enterprise where individuals working in groups can perform efficiently and effectively towards the attainment of group goals. This is one of the modern definitions of management. The other one, which Peter Drucker gives, is very much valid today. This was given way back sometime in the early 20th century. So he goes on to say that management refers to the tasks and activities involved in directing an organization or one of its units. Okay, so planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. We'll come to this later, and I'm sure you all have studied this. Process of reaching organizational goals by working with and through people and other organizational resources. Management is work, and as such, it has its own skills, its own tools, and its own techniques. Peter Drucker, who is considered to be father of modern management, said this. Looking at the process of management, taking cue from Peter Drucker, the 5 elements that you have seen here: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. The 5 elements are this one slightly modified in the sense that planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Okay, quickly on to the process of management. So when you look at management, on one hand we have resources, and what are the resources? The resources, like, since I have prepared these slides from academic sources, so therefore this still mentions money as a resource, which I personally have serious reservations. But let's go on with the pundits, what they say. So they include what are the resources: man, machine, money, materials, methods, markets. You may add 1 or 2 more. Okay. Now, what is done with the resources in the process of management? There are managerial functions which are carried out on these resources. What are those managerial functions? The 5 that you have seen in the previous slide: planning, organizing, directing, staffing, and controlling. And what is the purpose of carrying out the managerial function? Is the objectives. Objectives are normally to produce and offer goods and services, okay, for the society. So this is in a nutshell what is management as a process. Here, the 5 functions of management: planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Remember one thing: even if you do not take up management as a career, as a program, as an additional qualification to your engineering degree, please remember these 5 things anywhere you work, anything you do. Okay, the moment you hear about management, something management, inventory management, financial management, this management, that management, Palana management, so on and so forth. Apply this 5, you'll get a very simple answer. Okay, so every management you carry out the function of planning, you carry out the function of organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. And they go in this sequence, the same sequence that I have narrated in the previous slide. So planning, then comes organizing, then comes staffing, then directing, and then finally controlling. And then it goes on, it's a cycle. It's a closed cycle, closed loop cycle. The features, few features of management, when you talk about management in isolation, and this is true for every management function, irrespective of where you perform this function and on what you perform this function, are these. Management is goal oriented, management is a continuous process, management is a coordinative force. Okay, so management is not performed in isolation. It has to be a coordinated force. Management accomplishes results through cooperation of others. Again, a single individual cannot accomplish results by managing. Okay, so the person has to have the cooperation from others. Management balances effectiveness and efficiency. I don't know, this is not the forum to explain these two terms, but I hope you get through these terms and get the clarity of this. These are also very useful wherever you work and whatever you do is, after your graduation. Why management is important? For accomplishment of goals of the enterprise, effective utilization of resources, providing vision and foresight, accomplishment of harmony in workplace, help the employees in achieving personal goals, development of society and nation. Okay, so this is what briefly I want to give you a glimpse or a snapshot of what management is all about. We quickly come to a few slides on industry. Couple of slides on industry. Okay, 1 or 2 slides. So, what is an industry? In common parlance, industry a group of companies offering products or services that are close substitute for each other. Alongside comes the definition of competitors. Competitor industries or companies. These are nothing but rival companies that serve the same basic customer needs. Okay, so they become competitors. So therefore, industry implies those economic activities which are concerned with extraction, production, conversion, processing, or fabrication of products. Note this particular sentence. This is centered on extraction, production, conversion, processing, or fabrication of products. Okay, this has little focus on services, which we have mentioned in the thought at the top. Okay. However, we can add services also in this particular statement on industry. Okay, the services are also considered as an industry. Then what is industrial management? Industrial management can be considered as the management of men, material, machines in an industrial organization. Okay. Now, going back to the previous slide, the point that struck me is when we talk about industrial management, it is management mainly focusing on industry from a manufacturing or conversion sense. Okay, conversion of input to an output, which normally doesn't happen in a services industry. There is a process involved in services as well. They do add, some of the services industry do add value to certain inputs. Those inputs may not be as tangible as materials, raw materials, or things which are visible, which are physically seen. They are conversion of certain inputs which are intangible. For example, educational institute is a service. Okay, there also conversion take place. You get raw material in terms of raw, and what should I say, pre-qualified students who are yet to learn certain things. So they get into certain knowledges. They get certain knowledges through the process of education, through the process of conversion in the educational institute, and then come out with some addition of value. So essentially, if I put it, industry is an entity where value addition take place to anything, animate or inanimate. All right. So industrial management therefore is something where management is applied, okay, on the in the entire process of value addition. Industrial management as a branch of management facilitates creation of management systems and integrates the same with people and their activities to productively utilize the source. The subject emphasizes studying the performance of machines and also the people. Okay, this is important to understand industrial management from regular other specific management, general management. Industrial management has these words which are in addition. Performance of machines. Okay, in conventional management, this is not the general focus. Industrial management, therefore, is the structured approach. Okay, this is spelling mistake. It's the structured approach to manage the operational activities of an industrial organization, and this is the crux of the entire thing. What is industrial management? It is a structured approach. Any management actually is structured, but then to manage operational activities of an industrial organization. Okay, just take a pause. Is there any question so far? Okay, so I'll continue with it, and maybe you can raise issues and questions and queries at the end. There is another definition of industrial management. This is a little complicated. That's the reason I paused here. If you understood the previous one, it's good enough. This is something which is an adoption from the definition of industrial engineering. Those who are familiar with the subject of industrial engineering, this is an adoption of from there. So it is what is industrial is concerned with design improvement. Okay, this is a very classical definition which even I have studied when I did my post graduation. Design, improvement, and installation of what? Of integrated systems of men, materials, and equipments. Okay, what is important here when you talk about engineering is draws upon specialized knowledge and skill in the mathematical, physical, and social sciences together with the principles and methods of engineering analysis and design to specify, predict, and evaluate the results to be obtained from such systems. The next excellent definition, it was evolved maybe about 35-40 years ago, still holds good and very exhaustive if you understood each word of it. Okay, so this is what is industrial management. As I said, in industrial management, you always have a transformation process. Okay, there are inputs. Transformation process is nothing but a process which adds value to the inputs. The inputs can be any combination of men, machine, material, technology, information, or maybe a few more. And what are the some of the transformation processes through which value addition is done in the inputs: system design, production planning, control, operation management and control, etc., etc. And the outputs are growth and expansion, growth and services, social responsibility, etc., etc. What are the objectives for industrial management? Customer service, efficient utilization of resources, coordination, product control, and human relations. I'll skip these two slides. The first one gives process and development of industrial management, essentially of academic interest, and the application and scope of industrial management. This is explained somewhere later, much. Yes, this is the slide that I was trying to take it through. Where is industrial management applied? You will see the reason why I'm saying I'll come to that later. But then all these things, there is an implicit focus I'm trying to make on the engineering inputs that are required to undergo this particular program. Okay, MBA in industrial management. Unlike a common MBA program. So in each of these slides, be conscious that do I need engineering inputs for all of this? Okay, if you feel no, then you are free to debate with me. Okay, so what are the applications in pre-production planning stage? In deciding on location of facilities, plants, warehouses, everything. Capacity planning, selection of machinery and equipment, layout of facilities. Okay, location and layout are two very important things which you decide. And once you decide, it remains because you don't change these things every day, every month or every year or even every decade. This remains for till the facility lasts. And materials handling. Then during production and production planning and control, planning, routing, scheduling, dispatching, and controlling, etc. These are individually, each of these are subjects or courses that are covered under industrial management. Okay, and that's why they are important, and that's why you can make a link as to whether you need those knowledge of engineering in this or not. Then you have inventory management and storekeeping, total quality management. These are the major application areas of industrial management. Along with this, the other three conventional management streams, that is finance, marketing, and human resources, are also included in industrial management. So this gives you a glimpse of what industrial management is all about, what are the inputs required in studying MBA in industrial management. Yeah, scope of industrial management, the slide that I skipped there, is expertise help. A person who has undergone industrial management program, an MBA or any other program in industrial management, will be in a position to carry out these functions. Any of these functions or all of these functions. Expertise help, advice and consultancy, system analysis, training and motivation, decision making, and so on and so forth. And these are the sub-components of these functions. For example, advice and consultancy. What does an industrial management expert does? Interpretation of data and information, review of data and information, productivity measurement and improvement, and so on and so forth. Okay, system analysis, extremely a very important and exclusive ingredient of industrial management. Identification of faults in the production system, job analysis of the system, and so on and so forth. There are other parts. If you look at in a broad sense, globally there is an urgent need of operations and global sourcing skills. Manufacturing boom, service retail sectors are being industrialized. As I said, service also is getting into the entire domain of industry, the definition of industry. Best industrial management schools are there in group of 7 countries. Headquarters in developed cities. Global bottleneck in the number of manufacturing engineers. Manufacturing engineers is another terminology applied for industrial management qualified people. Okay. The few friends, I'll skip this how things are moving. Okay, from where to where? Unless you have any question, we can come back later on this. What are the implications of these trends? Operations moving from engineering? Yes, maybe, perhaps. Knowledge acquisition, not mere process, and cultural adaptability, and so on and so forth. Impacts of industrial structure of society. Shift of industries. New industries are created every now and then. Non-industrial activity is also getting industrialized. But there are now people talk about service workers and knowledge workers. Okay, and everywhere, irrespective of the industry, irrespective of the place, productivity increase is something which everybody is looking at. Productivity is nothing but input by output. So either increase the numerator or decrease the denominator, or both. Do both. So that's the call of the day. Every day, there is a call for increasing productivity. Anywhere you do, anywhere you see. Okay. Now, unfortunately, this is an established fact. Technology investment not necessarily increasing productivity as expected. There comes the need of industrial manager to analyze, recommend, and modify the system. Okay. So day-to-day traditional operational management say, is there a need to move from to industrial management? Yes. Okay. So other than manufacturing, where industrial management is applicable. Okay, retailing, banking, healthcare, tourism, these are the places. Uh, there's some questions, for engineering. Are you ready to enter these sectors, or our engineering pride does not allow us? Now, this is particularly true for those bright engineers who think, in fact, I know quite a few of, quite a lot of people, right from my era to those who are in the middle age now, and even the fresh ones. They don't prefer to go for a postgraduate other than in engineering. Even in engineering, postgraduate means specialize and in a narrow area of engineering. So that also people do not prefer. A good engineering graduate sometimes think enough. I have learned enough of engineering, so I'm a bright engineer. Why should I step into another area, okay, of management or something else? There are some people who still feel this. That is what is referred to here as engineering pride. Is an engineer ready to take the role of managing housemates in a hotel? Let's say in tourism, hotel comes under tourism industry. Okay. You will find today some of the best hotel chains across the world employs very bright engineering graduates who have a qualification in management. Okay. You step into one of the big hotel chains, you'll see that. Okay. In service sectors, some of the industrial management tools, facilities layout planning, quality management, logistics, maintenance, ergonomics, scheduling, etc. Why I am showing this? The reason is to show even in service sector, it is very easy to understand application of management, exclusive application of management exclusively in manufacturing industry. Very easy to understand that. But in service sector also, management is applicable if you consider service as an industry, and if you look at some of these illustrated areas, scheduling, ergonomics, maintenance, logistics, quality management, facilities layout, planning of facilities, etc. These are exclusive domain of industrial management and is uh, very much applicable in service industry as well. So this is the brief about what industrial management is all about, where is the scope, what are the areas in which people work on after undergoing industrial management, and so on and so forth. Briefly about Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, many of you could be students of our own university, so you know this. Our university was established to promote education and research in various disciplines without any profit motive. So this is a no profit, no loss kind of academic institute because of the trust which runs this university. The institute, this used to be an institute, but then it was established as a university in 2015 through a state legislation, and ever since we have been growing. Like any other progressive organization, SWB, our university also has a set of vision, mission, and values. This is something which is important. This is very often quoted by our vice chancellor also. Endurance, excellence, fairness, honesty, and transparency. Anyway, this is just for information. Presently, we have 18 constituent institutions. Many of you know this. SBITS is the oldest institute. Then SBIIT, Textile Technology, Forensic Science, Architecture. There is a school of management, the Vaishnav School of Management, to which I belong. Then there are other institutes also. There are a couple of institutes of law as well, School of Law and Institute of Law. We don't need to get into this. All that we know that we are a large university with 18 constituent institutions. This slide says why we have SBIPS. SBIPS is Sri Vaishnav Institute of Professional Studies. Okay, this the newest in the stable of industry of institutes that the university has. Uh, the youngest and the baby institute, you can call it, CBSM Institute of Professional Studies. So why this institute has been created? Very briefly, this has been created, number one, to augment the efforts of all the 18 constituent institutes. Okay, that we have seen there, all the 17 in fact, in serving the society. So it is just in addition to the 17 industries to serve the society. That's number one. Number two is providing industry-ready skilled professionals to Indian corporates and MNCs. Okay, so industry-ready professionals. The objective is to create or convert engineering students into industry-ready skilled professionals. So what is wrong with the existing MBA programs that is offered from the universities? There's nothing wrong. Only the contexts are different. The purpose is, the focus is different. What does the existing MBA programs do? They cater to a large and general cross section of graduates. There's no discrimination. We have BA, we have BA in fine arts as well. We have BA in BCom also. We have BA in economics also. We have BSc in chemistry also, general BSc, and so on and so forth. So cross section of any graduate is admitted in this MBA programs. Now they are designed to provide inputs which are general in nature, because you have a cross section of graduates with a very wide kind of background in graduate education. So therefore, the MBA program also has to keep that in mind. So general nature inputs are provided from MBA part of it. These MBA programs provide students for functions or organizations which hardly require any application of engineering knowledge and principles. Okay, so it is not specifically meant for places or organizations or functions where engineering principles and knowledge are applicable, are called for. So therefore, the existing programs are good. They're okay, fine from a general wide viewpoint. And that's the reason. And that's the reason when this MBAs, and it is true even for other colleges also where general MBAs are produced. Most of the colleges, most of the institutes have no discrimination from in the graduation degree. So they take any graduate. But then the problem is when these MBAs are employed in engineering intensive places, for example, in industries or where engineering principles, etc., are called for, they find it difficult. There's another point. This is also very important. There's a large number of engineering graduates are very keen to utilize their learning and apply them in management field. Okay, so that's another reason why we have established this SBIPS and MBA in Industrial Management. This will be the only institute of its kind in entire state of Madhya Pradesh to offer MBA in Industrial Management, and it is among very few offering exclusive programs to engineers in the country. Some of these are very big names, for example, NITI, Mumbai, where I did my PhD from. They have an exclusive program for engineers in industrial management. So that is also a postgraduate diploma in industrial management, 2 years full time, has a very high demand, very high demand. SBIPS will strive for excellence by promoting quality education and will attract only meritorious students of engineering. Okay, so these are the reasons why we established SBIPS. What are the programs that we are offering? We are offering a full-time program, as I said repeatedly, which is called MBA in Industrial Management. The curriculum requirement is that 108 credits is to be earned through classroom sessions, internships in industries, and major research project. The curriculum has a ideal blend of core and elective courses. So there are core courses and there are elective courses. Students can opt for electives depending on his or her choice. Okay. The core courses constitute more than 50% of total credit um, laid out for the foundation of knowledge base and necessary to build the requisite techno-managerial skills among the students. So these are core courses. These are core courses which are necessary to build these techno-managerial skills. So they are there. They are compulsory courses. And the elective courses, they lend deeper knowledge in specialized functional areas. We have a set of electives which are as per interest in specialized areas. The curriculum is dynamic nature as revision in curriculum takes place on a regular basis to keep pace with rapid changes in technology, industry, economy, and the society. So today, what the electives and the curriculum, even the core courses that we are offering are as per today's need. It has been very carefully crafted and crafted out from the similar curriculum offered by the top institutes in the country. Okay? So this is the curriculum. Admission criteria is very simple: full-time engineering technology degree in any branch of engineering from a recognized university. Students in the final year of graduation can also apply, subject to their qualifying, passing, and producing the results, etc. Appropriately. Candidates with experience in business and industry, some experience 1 or 2 years, will have preference. They'll have preference over others, over fresh engineering graduates in this particular program. So these are the admission criteria. And finally, there's a requirement to appear in Shri Vaishnav entrance test, abbreviated as SBT, and there is a minimum marks criteria in SBT also. After that, the merit list is drawn from the overall marks obtained in the engineering or technology degree, BTech or BE degree. So that's the basis on which admission will be made. As far as fees are concerned, the total fees per year, 2 semesters is 75,000. So per semester is 35,000. Same as MBA program. First year one has to pay this cost and money 5,000 and enrollment fee of 1,000 rupees. So the first year of first semester at the time of admission, one has to pay 41,000 rupees, and the other fee breakups are like this: placement fee, convocation fee, and alumni fee. There are a number of scholarships available. As in other programs, this is applicable for the entire university. There are merit scholarship, there are merit cum means scholarship, the scholarship to employees and their wards, scholarship for students of institutes run by Vaishnav Group of Trusts. Any student studied in any of the institutes run by Vaishnav Group of Trusts, including students of SWB, also have a scholarship for them. Then scholarship for physically challenged students, scholarship for children of martyred defense personnel, scholarship for children of corona warriors introduced recently. Now, that's the end of the presentation, and we are open for questions now.
Sir, one question is there. Sir, I think which you have already explained that what is the admission criteria for SWB students?
You see, the admission criteria or the requirements remain same. That means you have to appear in SBT, and there is a cutoff percentage. And if you get that cutoff percentage, you get to the first step. Okay, you get just 1 minute. Hello, मैं call करता हूँ. So you get through the first step. Then comes your percentage marks in your BE or BTech. So depending on the number of seats that we are offering, which in all likelihood would be about 60, the merit list would be drawn. But I think that will not be a big deal for SWB students. So this is the eligibility criteria. And being a SWB student, you also are entitled for the scholarship, which I think is 50% of the tuition fee, subject to maximum of 25,000 per semester. But then if you get educated, the scholarship is not applicable. I hope I have answered. Any other question?
Students, you can write your questions in the question and answer tab.
See, one of the important things is this, the analytical skills. Is my screen visible? No. I stopped sharing. No. Okay, fine. One of the important thing is
Yes.
the specific skills which engineering students possess. Which is called analytical skills. Okay, this is very, very important, and this is an established fact. Why do engineering students score over with? I don't want to disrespect anybody, but then non-engineers in particular. Somewhere in the presentation, I mentioned about engineering pride. If you have noticed that, engineering pride. Now, actually, this has been found. This definition I've taken from Wikipedia. A person with engineering skills, with an engineering degree, irrespective of the place or the the institute or the type of degree or the subject studied, engineering people and to some extent science people have a higher level of analytical skills. I'm not saying this is a very generalized statement. I'm not saying that a non-engineering or an arts graduate does not have analytical skills. Incidentally, analytical skills are trainable. So arts graduate also can have analytical skills provided he or she has gone through certain process of acquiring these skills. Now, this is one of the main weapons of engineers, as I myself have experienced throughout my career, and I have observed also. You see, I have worked as vice president of human resources in very large companies. If you have heard about Aditya Birla Group, you have heard about JK Group, in such large organizations. Now, I am an industrial management postgraduate. I did my PhD also in area of industrial management. Okay. Now, when let me explain how it has helped me in doing my job better. I'll take maybe 2 more minutes on this aspect. See, I started in projects. Project management is one of the areas where one has to have an engineering degree. A non-engineer with a management getting into project management job is going to have face tremendous difficulty. The fundamentals of engineering principles are extremely applicable, and projects are something which are very important for the growth of any nation. And that's why you see in India there are a lot of projects which are coming up. Okay, and there are a huge requirement and demand for project managers. So incidentally, there also it helped me a lot. So project management is one. Then after I switched over, after working in industrial engineering area for a few more years, when I switched over to human resources, apparently human resources is anybody's ball game. But actually, if you have, this is what I have experienced. Since I had an engineering degree and that analytical bent of mind, which I showed in the slide, I could see business processes from that type of mindset, which is required not only for an HR manager, for a financial manager, for a materials manager, everywhere. Similarly, in a professional organization, the purchaser or purchase managers recruited always need to have engineering background. Okay. The reason is in purchasing there are several engineering principles and engineering knowledge is required. So this is briefly what I wanted to say about why engineers and why there is a separate program for engineers. There is a separate MBA program for engineers. Okay. Any other question?
No, sir, I think there is no question from participants. Thank you, sir. You have explained very well about the functions of industry and scope and applications of industrial management. And I hope that all our engineering graduates will be benefited by this and will definitely think about adding punch in their career. So thank you, sir, for participating, for giving your valuable time for us. And thanks to all participants for being present with us. Thank you, sir. Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
sir.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
I request all the participants to please fill the feedback form as mentioned in the chat box. Please submit for getting certificates. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, can I leave now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
लोग सर
हाँ भाई बंद कर रहा हूँ
सर 2 मिनट रुक के कर देना सर 2 मिनट है ना